Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spurs Up Show, the best Gamecocks podcast on the internet. Today is Wednesday, April the 8th, 2020. On today's show, we've got a good one, a packed show, talking about an array of topics from Dabo Swinney being an idiot, the over-under win totals released for Carolina football. I'll give you guys an update on my quarantine status. We'll also talk some hypotheticals, some more stuff regarding South Carolina, some stuff that's happened over the last week. We also have a fantastic interview. Former Gamecocks baseball player Ian Jenkins joins the show for a great interview, guys. Ian is an awesome kid, and this is one of those conversations you certainly do not want to miss out on. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and let's get it. All right, I'm Chris Phillips, host of the Spurs Up Show. As always, appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope everyone is doing well. This is quarantine day. Who knows? I don't even have count anymore, but we're just hanging out, relaxing, chilling, still working, still grinding, trying to stay busy during this quarantine time. So again, hope you all out there are safe, healthy. Hope everybody's having a good time and making the most of it. Hey, when life gives you lemons, make pink lemonade and a splash of vodka to it. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, we're just going to kind of keep rolling. It's funny. With the whole quarantine thing, I was depressed when all the sports stuff went down and we didn't have sports anymore. I've kind of gotten past that point. I'm now in just the acceptance, embracing the quarantine, kicking the quarantine's ass, to be honest with you. And we got some content coming out that's going to do that. You've probably seen me on TikTok a bit. We're going to do some stuff that's some non-sports related stuff as well that I'm going to do that I'm really, really excited about. Going to get the local scene in Columbia involved, if you will. So I'm very, very excited about that. But again, hope everybody's doing well. There's a couple of things I definitely want to talk about. And like I said before, we have a great interview. Ian Jenkins, awesome kid, awesome conversation. So let's jump right into it. And I had to bring this up, and it happened over the weekend. Dabo Swinney just always finds a way to outdo himself. He always does. You think you've heard the most bizarre thing, like the dumbest thing, the corniest thing you could hear from Dabo Swinney, and he always finds a way to make us hate him even more than we already do. Over the weekend, I don't know if Dabo just spoke to media or what it was, but this is the quote, "We've got a new acronym for Tigers. It stands for This Is Going to End Real Soon." So that's the only mindset we got. All the rest of that stuff, I'll let all the smart people figure out all the doomsday scenarios. I got one scenario, and that's running down the hill and kicking it off in the valley. Bro, Tigers, this is going to end real soon. That is probably the dumbest shit I've ever heard of in my life. Dabo Swinney, like I said, he has to stand in front of the mirror at home and practice this shit. It's so absurd. He has to. He has to. There's just no way. No human being is wired that way. And what's crazy, and like, you could also go at him for, like, he's still traveling and stuff, and people are saying, oh, it's no big deal. Like, but it's not a good look when you're out here traveling, bro. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, period. You shouldn't be doing it. But he is. So you got Dabo Swinney out here traveling, like, whatever he's doing, and then to make the comment like that, like, it's just the corniest, dumbest, like, just unreal. I read that, was like, this has to be a joke. This has to be a made-up quote. There's no way he actually said this, but he did. And it's just crazy. Like, this man is Butch Jones 2.0, but he wins. That's the only difference between Dabo and Butch. If Butch Jones won the SEC, Tennessee fans wouldn't have gave a damn what he said. Honestly. Wouldn't have gave a damn what he said. But it's because he didn't win. And I promise you, if Clemson was winning 6-7 games a year, Dabo would be outed, bro. There's no way they'd put up with that. Like, Clemson fans would not like that. They wouldn't. No fans would like that. All the stupid one-liners and the dumb acronyms and, like, all that other shit. So Dabo Swinney's a clown. I know I'm not giving you guys any breaking news in that regard, but yeah, he's a freaking idiot, no question. One of the other big things that dropped that I thought was really, really interesting was the over-under win totals. Now, this is something I'm really excited to talk about. SEC win totals from Caesars for the fall, obviously, for Carolina football. I'm going to go through all of them, and then we'll talk about South Carolina. But these are the win totals. Over-under, Alabama 10.5, Florida 10, Georgia 10, A&M 9.5, LSU 9, Auburn 8.5, Tennessee 7.5, Kentucky 7, Mississippi State 6.5, South Carolina sitting at 5.5, Ole Miss at 5.5, Mizzou at 5, Arkansas at 3.5, and Vanderbilt at 3. Now, I know a lot of South Carolina fans, a lot of diehards, a lot of people that bleed the garnet and black. They look at that and think, oh, my God, we're being disrespected. Like, what's the number? Like, Chris, a lot of people ask me, what do you think about the number? I think the number is perfect. I think the number is right where it should be. Listen, guys, going into this football season, it is like a repeat of last year. It's a mirror image of last year in the sense of, like, this is going to be a season we are struggling to get to a bowl game. We are struggling to find that 6th win. Like that, it's going to be that type of season. So, honestly, right now, with that over-under 5.5, right now, I would probably take the under, to be just completely honest with you, just because, I mean, you know, I'm picking us to go 5-7. I mean, that's why. So, I would take the under. I mean, it's going to be right at that number, though. I mean, the number was 5.5 last year. And South Carolina ended up winning 4 games. I'm not saying that's going to happen again, obviously, but I think that number's, honestly, like the odds makers, that number's perfect. That number's right where it should be, to be honest with you. So I hate it. I hate that that's the number. I hate that that is, you know, what we've come to. I mean, you look, I mean, it's crazy to think that, like, Kentucky has an over-under of 7. Kentucky's 7. Tennessee's up to 7.5. Heck, Mississippi State even's at 6.5. So, you know, you guys all know my thoughts on Will Muschamp, and I think this will be his last season, and it's going to be a major transition in the Carolina football program for sure. But yeah, I just, you know, I don't see. I don't know. Right now, I just don't see South Carolina getting that 6th win. I got them at 5-7. As we go through, you know, more so in the off season, the summer is when I'll start breaking down and kind of talking about really diving into my predictions and all that fun stuff, the off season stuff. But yeah, I just, you know, I got South Carolina at 5-7. I think under 5.5 is the bet there for sure. If you're going to put any money on it, I think that it has to be the bet. Other than that, guys, I mean, not a ton else going on. We've been obviously producing a lot of content. I've been doing all the Twitch stuff. Did my all-time must-win starting 9 for South Carolina. So it's been a fun blast. Again, I appreciate you guys so much for interacting with the content, asking questions. Been doing a lot of the question stuff on Instagram. That's been fun. We've been doing a lot of the lives and stuff on Instagram. That's been fun. So I really do appreciate you guys, you know, staying interactive. You know, I appreciate you guys staying engaging with the content. It shows you guys care and support me. And I really do appreciate it. So thank you so much. We're going to continue to just keep trucking along. We're going to kick quarantine's ass. Who gives a damn? Make sure, by the way, you tune into the Twitch streams. Make sure you go rate, subscribe the show as well. I meant to say that at the beginning, but please go rate, subscribe the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever. Go leave a 5-star review. I really appreciate that. And outside of that, yeah, not much else going on. Again, I hope everybody's safe, healthy, making the most of your quarantine. Maybe there's something you always wanted to do, or some skill you wanted to learn but you didn't have time. Hey, now's the perfect time. All we have is time, it seems like now. So again, have a fantastic interview for you guys as well. Ian Jenkins, former Gamecocks baseball player, really cool to get his perspective on the South Carolina baseball program, the state of the program, what he's doing now in his career. He's actually playing for Adrian Morales down in Miami for his junior college. So he's doing very, very well. So very excited for you guys to tune into this. So stay tuned, sit back, relax, and enjoy this interview with former Gamecocks baseball player Ian Jenkins. All right, joining us today on the Spurs Up Show, former Gamecocks outfielder Ian Jenkins. Ian was at South Carolina 2018, 2019, is now currently playing his college baseball at Miami-Dade, actually playing under a former Gamecock as well, Adrian Morales. Very, very excited to talk to you, Ian. Appreciate you taking the time, man. It's a pleasure to have you on, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's kind of go back to the beginning for you, Ian, because I think it's, it's really interesting, and we're going to dive into it, that you're going to have a lot of great perspective on, the current state of the South Carolina program and Mark Kingston and all that. We're going to dive into that in a second. But I want to go back. Your high school days, you were obviously a very highly sought-after prospect. You were taken in the 40th round of the 2017 MLB draft at a high school. You obviously chose South Carolina, and you're a Georgia kid. So just going to talk about your recruitment, what schools were involved and what eventually led you to make the decision to sign with South Carolina.
Yeah, so for me, it's an interesting story on how I got to USC. So as you know, I've had a lot of injuries in my career,
right?
And a lot of them were in high school. So my recruiting in high school started really late, man. I really didn't get started till my senior year, the following senior year. So almost as late as I could get started. And I was playing with the East Cobb Yankees, and we were in a perfect game tournament, and I swung the bat well. I did well for myself. I showed well. So some of my tools, and I think I showed a mature approach at the plate, which a lot of guys liked, and that's what coaches taught me about, was my approach to the plate, how they liked that. So going back to that tournament, I did really well at that perfect game tournament, and it was in the fall of my senior year, and I got a bunch of calls from a few advisors, from a few schools, but the first call I got was University of Carolina, and this is with the old coaching staff, with Holbrook's coaching staff. Espo called. He called me on a Wednesday, and they ended up getting me on a visit up there on a Saturday. It happened really fast, man, really fast. But I was excited. I got up there. I love the university, and I got back, and I told him, I said, when I got home, I coached this place. I had other visits to some other, this place to be my home now. So if we can make that happen, let's go ahead and do it. And
right.
Work with a scholarship on it, and I accepted. And the rest is history, I guess.
So was there any, I guess, doubt for you once what happened with the previous staff, once Holbrook made the decision, or however that went down, once he was not at South Carolina anymore? Was it any kind of wait and see approach for you, or was it just you're like, either way, I'm 100%?
Either way, I was still going to go. I trusted the fact that Ray Tanner, being the athletic director he is, and being the head coach that he was, would make the right decision on a coach, and he picked a great coach. He picked a coach who was well-rounded, who I think can coach at the SEC level. So,
for sure. So I want to go back to something, by the way, that you brought up, is that you were a guy. It's so funny in that 2019 season, because obviously you got on the field a little bit and you contributed. Right. It's so funny. The one thing they always talked about when you came up was the injury history. Like, you're a man that's had, like, it seems like 1,000 injuries. I can't even begin to name them off. But I mean, are you just like, do the baseball gods hate you? I mean, is there something like not telling everybody? Like, what's the deal with all the injuries you've seemed to have over your career?
I think the deal with the injuries is it's really just one thing that we were not aware of. And because we weren't aware of it, I proceeded with things, with workouts with the team like normal, stretching, workouts, conditioning, all of that. And I was just, getting after it. And, my trainer asked me my history one day. It was Brainerd Cooper, actually. And he's like, man, you've been hurt a lot. You talked to me about it. So we started talking, discussing some stuff, and we actually ended up finding out that I'm hypermobile. So what that is my ligaments are loose and my joints are loose. So I'm a stronger guy. So I exert a lot of force on those loose ligaments. And when I do that, that's when things pull and tear and things like that. So basically what we figured out is I got to stop stretching. So oddly enough, I stopped stretching. And since I stopped stretching, I've not had another injury.
Wow.
I've been healthy. Right now, my body's never felt better. And you know what? I probably sound like a crazy man talking to you and telling you how I stopped stretching and I feel better. But oddly enough, it worked. So that's really the deal with injury history. Yeah,
I was going to say that's kind of a convenience, because anybody who's played any sport knows. I mean, it's just like one of the most tedious things you do. So it's like, sorry, coach, I'm sitting this out. Well, you're just a show and go guy now. You're just a show and go guy for sure. So you get on campus in Columbia, 2018. You obviously redshirt, but you're part of a team that goes to the super regionals. And I'm sure I don't know if you traveled, probably didn't travel to Fayetteville. But anyways, you're part of a team that goes to the super regional, makes it that far. Coming to 2019, obviously contribute. Just talk about kind of the vibe, being part of a team that was a game away from Omaha. I guess how cool was that to be a part of and kind of watch your teammates do what they did?
It was something. I've won state championships in high school, and I've won a lot, and I've had successes at other places, but there was nothing like what we had that year. What you saw was a team that struggled in the beginning and a group of seniors that lit a fire under the rest of the team and really led the way. Those seniors dictated every game. After I think we lost Presbyterian or something, and it was a crushing loss. Coach Kingston wasn't too happy, so he did things that he needed to implement. He thought he needed to implement for us to get better, and we got things like the locker room taken away, the lounge taken away, things like that. Like there was no more nice amenities of playing at the University of South Carolina. All that stuff had to be earned, and guys like L.T. Tolbert, Matt Williams, and some of those other seniors on that team, they were real leaders. And I've never seen a team transform itself like that Gamecock team did. And it was really fun to watch. And I think as a freshman, it was an honor for me to sit there and watch how leaders do it at the SEC level. So it was a great learning experience for me, and I'm so blessed and honored I could be a part of that team.
For sure. So I want to switch gears a little bit before we dive into 2019, Ian. So this is kind of a funny thing I want to ask you about. So for a while on social media, because I didn't get into Columbia didn't move to Columbia till August 19, the fall. So I wasn't at scrimmages last year or anything like that. So anyways, there was a lot of chatter on social media when you guys were doing the squads, the scrimmages, of who hit this home run, who hit that home run. Andrew Eister hit the scoreboard. Like this happened. Yeah. So I was talking to this season. I was at a game, and I've been had him on the show, or I'm getting him on the show. But we're talking to like Alex Destino, Reed Morgan, Ridge Chapman, and so I was talking to Ridge Chapman. And I need you to either confirm or deny this, because he told me a story that you hit a home run. And I remember this being tweeted out about that the ball was like literally in the parking lot. He told me you hit the ball over the clock on the scoreboard. Is that true?
I did, just to the right of the clock.
Dude, that's a bomb. I mean, that's for people that don't realize, if you can envision Founders Park, like that is a moonshot of a home run.
I like to tell my teammates, I tell them I didn't hit that ball. Jesus hit that ball. Because there's no way I'm going to be able to do that again.
Well, dude, what's funny is that Ridge was telling us this story. And like I said, it's like me, Ridge, Destino's there, and Reed, because they're all back, working out, whatever. Yeah. And, I mean, nobody believed him. Like Reed and Destino did not believe him. And I'm like, now that we're having this conversation, I'm like, this is the perfect time to figure this out. Yeah. But there you go. Ridge was telling the truth. Apparently you did. I mean, was that the ball that was found in the parking lot? Was that same home
That was.
I feel like you have to still have that ball. I mean, that's got to be
you know what? I had the ball, and then it got taken away from me because it's a practice ball. So
dang. I feel like they need to make an exception for that. Like
I thought they were. But
Jesus, it's like hitting the cover off. I mean, it's like a special thing, bro. Yeah, that's a monster shot for sure. I'm glad we found that out. Anyway, so let's dive into 2019. Obviously, again, you get on the field, you contribute. You played in 26 games, had 14 starts. I thought it was interesting. You had 5 home runs, and 4 of them were in SEC games. Just kind of talk about, your experience playing at the SEC level. I mean, was it kind of what you expected? Was it tougher than you thought? Like, what was that adjustment like, I guess? Because, I mean, obviously, there's no better conference in the country for college baseball than the SEC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So I think the first time I started actually was not an SEC play, and it was against Valparaiso. And the first day was not good at all. I sucked, if we're being honest. I sucked. And I thought to myself, I was like, Valparaiso is a good baseball school. But what's going to happen, Ian, when you face Georgia in 2 weeks? And that's SEC baseball. Like, that's the big time. So So after that first Valpo game, I said, you really need to kick in gear and get in the cage and figure some things out. So me preparing for SEC baseball was timeless cage work. And then when I finally got in there, man, I think my first SEC pitch I saw was against Emerson Hancock. And it was fireball. And I'm up at the plate. First fastball goes by. Wow, that's coming in there. All right, be short, be quick to the ball. And I think he ended up striking me out at that at bat. But it was a wake-up call for me because it's a level of baseball that I never played before. But after my first game in the SEC, I realized, I can play at this level. I belong. I believe in myself. But yeah, man, SEC is unreal. You'll never get a break. You're going to get Emerson Hancock off the mound, and then some other guy will come in that you've never heard of that's throwing 94 from the left side that's spotting up. That's just the SEC, man.
Yeah.
It's competitive, and everybody's good. Everybody's good. So, yeah, in my mind, they like to say it's Double-A baseball. I'd hate to see what the major leagues is like. But I think I can handle it all, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, it's crazy because just speaking on that Georgia team, and like I said, you got Hancock throwing like 98, and they got a guy out of the bullpen throwing 99. It's like, where did they get all these studs from?
Right.
But
that guy out of the bullpen threw me a 90-mile-an-hour slider, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's just unfair at that point. Was there a moment for you that was kind of like I don't know if you've arrived is like the right way to put it, but was there any of those like those home runs or any like moment for you where you're like you were saying, it kind of the light bulb sort of clicked? You're like, all right, I belong at this level of baseball. This isn't overwhelming anymore or anything.
Absolutely. First at bat against Auburn on a Saturday game. First pitch, I hit over left center field. I hit into left center field bullpen. And that was one of the greatest moments in my baseball career because we're playing Auburn. They're good. It's a good baseball team. Classic SEC matchup, Auburn, South Carolina. And I got in there first fastball. I saw I hammered it. And rounding those bases was unreal. I'll tell you what, the best part about it was when I'm rounding third base and I get to give Stuart Lake a high five, see a smile on his face. But even better is I'm looking in the dugout, and my teammates are running out. Noah Campbell's got this shocked look on him. Jacob Olson's fired up. That's a caged animal right there.
Yeah.
And T.J. Hopkins is fired up as well. And just seeing my teammates happy about something I did, and I could do something for them and produce and be part of the team. It's a great feeling, man. And that's when I felt like I really belonged, was after that home run.
For sure. So I want to ask you about that 2019 season as a whole, too, because we obviously know it did not go to plan. A lot of injuries, a lot of, game. It seemed like every series was like coming down to the wire and just wasn't going south. What wasn't going our way. And people that know baseball or played or whatever, that things can tend to snowball in baseball. It's like when you get on a streak, bad or good, it's like it can really start to snowball. Just that 2019 season, I guess how tough was that to go through that? I mean, as you're going through it, because, when Carmen goes down, I think people really didn't realize like how big of a loss that was to lose Carmen Majinski. I mean, I tell people honestly, if Carmen's healthy in 2019, I mean, it may really be a 6 or 7 win difference in conference play because you have to think, a lot of those series where you lost 2 of 3, he's going to win you half of those at least.
Absolutely. That's a potential first-round draft pick.
Right.
He's got first-round stuff. So when you say that, you're absolutely correct. Carmen breaking his foot at Clemson was a huge loss, and really a turning point in that season.
What was your experience like playing in the South Carolina Clemson game, or just being a part of the rivalry? Because I know everybody has
I never actually
experience.
got to play in it due to injury, but that atmosphere is unreal. That atmosphere is the closest thing that you can get to being in Willie B. Stadium on a Friday night, on a Saturday night, or something. It's an unreal feeling. The stadium's packed. The fans have tons of energy, and the players feed off that energy of the fans. And it's a war, man. It's fun. It's really fun. Those are some of the moments in college baseball I'll never forget. Those kind of rivalry games and just the energy. is unmatched.
For sure. So I want to talk about, too, obviously after that 2019 season, you made the decision to transfer. Was it as simple for you as just wanting to get more playing time, or because I think the JUCO route is a really good route for a lot of guys because it kind of lets you hit the restart button, refresh button, whatever you want to call it. You have another chance to get recruited again. But I guess for you, what was going on in your head? What was the kind of the reasoning behind you making the decision to transfer?
Right. So I hit 188 that year, last year. And I knew that Ian Jenkins needs to go and get better. My coaches gave me every opportunity in the world to prove myself. And, at times I did well, and most of the time I didn't. So me leaving had nothing to do with them. It was a great staff. I think it's a really special staff who's going to do good things at South Carolina. But for me personally, I just needed to go somewhere else and figure things out for myself. Really bear down, get nitty and gritty, and figure out what's going to work for Ian Jenkins. So on that thought, I left just to go and get better, man. To go grind it out somewhere. 188 is not an everyday player in the SEC. 188 is not an everyday player anywhere. So I knew that I had to go a school in South Florida or something like that, or where I am now, Miami-Dade, and grind it out and figure some things out. Was that level too big for me at the time? No, I don't think it was. I think that I was just in my head, and I had to get out of my own head. And it's hard to do that when you're in front of 14,000 people every game.
Right. No, for sure. And like I said, you figured something out. Let's put it that way, because obviously the season getting cut short, it's devastating. But I mean, through 20 games, you were hitting 373 for Miami-Dade, 5 homers, 15 RBIs. I was looking in conference, you were hitting 409, 2 homers, 6 ribbies. What's been the biggest change for you? I guess, is it in your swing? Obviously, your health's really good right now. I know that's probably playing a major factor. But what's been the biggest thing that you think so far, I guess, has clicked for you? And I know, I've seen you're getting a lot of big-time offers and a lot of big-time looks, so it's obviously translating well. But what's evolved in your game the most from last year to now?
I think what's evolved in my game the most is my mind. My mind and my health. One, I'm always healthy. And two, failing so much gave me a different perspective on baseball. It's a game where you fail a lot, and I failed more than a normal person. And myself, I'm a huge mechanics guy. I'm really big on the swing and how it works and your approach and all these different facets of the swing and how they come together and make a great hitter. And, just looking at some of the swings I was taking, and I was asking myself, what's my approach at the plate? All right, Ian, what are you trying to do here? Knowing the situation, things like that. I was really just going up there swatting, man. I was doing a lot of the things that I thought would work and would help me hit that home run or that double and score some runs. But the things I was doing with my swing just didn't make any sense, man. So really what I did was got down to Miami-Dade. I choked up on the bat. A huge part of this is Adrian Morales helping me out and us being able to figure out some things. So I choked up on the bat. I even put some space in between my hands, man, to have more bat control because our biggest focus was bat control. If you can't control the bat, you're not going to hit the baseball. So I choked up. I started swinging at more of a down angle. And what that allowed me to do was my contact rate was much higher. So I think at South Carolina, I swung and missed a lot, and I struck out half the time. Now I'm getting barrels on balls. I'm fouling good pitches off. I'm getting myself in good counts to hit a fastball or something like that. I also was a lot more aware of the situation. Okay, I got a guy on second. I'm a power guy. What did I do my last? What did he do to my last at bat? And what is he going to try to do to me now? So I got a guy on second. This guy's probably going to flip me a curveball or something off speed. So, I'm looking the other way. I'm looking to drive the ball the other way. It's just being a smarter hitter with a simplified approach is what got me, which is what brought me success this year. So.
For sure. I was going to say, it definitely sounds like you've matured as a hitter, no doubt. It's
a lot.
The maturation of a good hitter. So you mentioned Adrian Morales, Coach Morales. I want to ask you about him because, Adrian's obviously a guy that lives on in Gamecocks lore. I mean, as good as anybody, obviously, his history, what he did at South Carolina. But, he's been on this show, and I can tell you that Adrian is a guy, and you already know this, but Adrian's a guy that he had me ready to run through a brick wall just from interviews.
Oh, man.
I mean, what is it like playing for Adrian Morales? I feel like that has to be like just an awesome experience.
Yeah, as you know, he was a bulldog on the field, and he's the same way as a coach. That guy's locked in 24/7. He's always locked in. There's not a single pitch where he's locked out. One day we were talking about a few of my swings on curveballs, and he brought up an at-bat from 2 weeks ago, my second at-bat and the fourth pitch, and I was just like, yo, what? I don't even remember that. So this guy's locked in it all the time. He picks up on a lot of things. He actually made a really smart coaching move this year, whereas the first game we played Northwest Florida State, he was coaching third base, and we lost that game. And we were talking. He said, you know what, I'm going to go to the dugout so I can slow the game down and see things. Then we went on a 12-game winning streak. He sees all these little facets in the game that really make a difference. I can't believe he's not coaching at a big-time D1 yet, honestly. He's capable of it. He's a very talented coach. And like you said, man, we played 23 games this year, and every single one of them I was running through a brick wall for him. So that's just how he is, man. Really intense, very smart, and just a really good coach, a really good teacher. He connects to a lot of different guys and can bring them together. It's really a beautiful thing. What he's able to do.
I was going to ask you earlier when you said it. I mean, as far as like his projectability as a head coach, because like you said, I mean, I'm surprised he's not as a big time D1 either. I mean, I'm just curious. Like, there's no question in your mind he's going to be coaching for a very long time. Like, no.
Oh, 100%. A few of me and my teammates were talking about the other day, and that guy's going to be a coach that when you look back at it, when everything's said and done, you're going to say that guy impacted my life in a big way, and he made everybody the best they could possibly be.
No, for sure. So I want to get your thoughts. Something you talked about a little bit earlier I want to ask you about, because you talked about you're a guy that you're kind of like a baseball nerd in the sense you like the swing.
Absolutely.
Of the swing. I always see you on Instagram posting the like the slow-mo videos of Bonds and different guys. Who's your favorite hitter? We'll go, who's your favorite hitter of all time to watch? And then if you had to pick like a current day player, is there a guy that you like to watch and watch his swing and maybe try to emulate some things? Like, who are those guys for you that you enjoy, like, looking at the mechanics of their swing?
So on my list, and will always be number one on my list, is Barry Bonds. That's a guy that I study religiously, and he's my favorite hitter of all time, my favorite player of all time. And as far as modern day guys, man, that's tough. There's so many talented young players of today. You got guys like, I watch Mike Trout a lot. Ronald Acuna is somebody who's really enamored me as of late, and I've been studying a lot, especially because he's so good with hitting the slider away for a home run, actually. He hits the ball backside just as hard as he does full side, and he stays on these baseballs. So I was really intrigued by that, so I studied him a lot. A few other guys, Matt Carpenter, of course, Miguel Cabrera. So guys like that. But the person I probably study the most right now is probably Mike Trout.
Yeah, that's not a bad one to look at for sure.
I even studied his golf swing.
I was gonna say too. I think Bonds, man, you could certainly argue he's like the greatest hitter of all time. I think you can, most feared hitter for sure.
Absolutely,
in my mind. So I want to ask you. Obviously, everybody's going through it. The whole COVID-19 quarantine, coronavirus, whatever. Seasons obviously getting canceled. Everything getting canceled. How are you? How is Ian Jenkins staying sharp, staying in shape through this weird downtime we have right now?
Right. So you know what, man? I view it as a blessing. Yes, there are a lot of bad things going on in the world, but I can only control what I can control. And this is a situation that we've been given, so I'm going to look at it as a blessing. Okay, now I have a lot of downtime to work on things. I can get stronger, get faster, cut some weight, work on my swing. I have all the time in the world to really critique the way I play the game and to refine the way I play the game, especially my tools, man. So I'm taking it as a blessing every day. I'm working out. I actually was hitting bottle caps today as a way of hitting some movement. So I do things like that. But, yeah, man, I'm taking it as a blessing and making the most of this time.
For sure. So I want to go back and ask you about the recruiting process now. Obviously, you're going through it again, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
And I think you were committed to Houston for a little bit and then decommitted.
I was.
Just talk about what the recruiting process has been like for you. Again, I've noticed, obviously, you've had some big-time offers roll through. But what is it like going through this, I guess, for a second time now?
I know exactly what I want. And I know exactly what I'm looking for now because I've played at 2 colleges now, and I've played other teams. So before, where I was trying to fill everybody out and see what they were talking about, now I pretty much know what I want and what I'm looking for. So I guess just more of a more seasoned outlook on the recruiting process this time around. So yeah, that's pretty much the difference.
Has there been any contact from South Carolina? Like, is there any chance you'd come back, or is it you're probably going to just be a fresh start somewhere?
No, I wouldn't mind coming back at all. You know, it's a great program with a great coaching staff. But I have not been in contact with them as of late. But no, I wouldn't mind playing there.
I know they're obviously Coach Kingston definitely likes the JUCO guys. So I mean, you obviously see a ton of them playing and contributing for South Carolina. So I just was curious. I'm curious to get your thoughts before I let you go, Ian, on, it's such a shame, obviously for everybody, but me doing what I do and being in Columbia, it's such a shame that we didn't get to see, this South Carolina baseball team literally about to go into SEC play and then everything gets canceled.
Yeah. I think they were opening up with Tennessee, correct?
Yes. Opening up with Tennessee. And, I know things had been kind of rocky, I guess, to start out, but I really thought it was a team that was kind of hitting their stride, and I thought the bullpen was getting better. I liked the lineup. You finally got Brennan Malone in the lineup, and
absolutely
he hit a home run in his first game back. But just kind of talk about, from your perspective, a guy that's literally worn the jersey last year and been in the program, been under Mark Kingston, your overall thoughts on just the state of the program, I guess, and what you expect from the program moving forward for, like, at least the near future.
Right. I think the program is actually in a really good spot right now, especially how the coaches have devised the roster. I feel like they have a lot of good arms on the mound. I mean, yeah, a lot of good arms on the mound. And from what it looks like, man, they have tons of power, just like last year, but it seems like they're a bit more consistent. I think that the program is headed in a very good direction, and fans want to see it go in. Like I said, they got the personnel and they have the coaching to be a big-time SEC contender. And I see the program going up from here on out, honestly, man. There's a lot of good things going on in Columbia that some people don't know about. And just the amount of work that those guys put in and how much they care is the real separator. And those guys are going to be special, man. Those guys are definitely going to be special. I'm sad their season got cut short because I'd watch them play, man. And some of those guys are really fun to watch. Like Andrew Iser, amazing to watch. A guy like Wes Clark, man.
He was tearing it up, too. Yeah,
tearing it up. I think he was leading the SEC in home runs, correct?
Yep, had 8.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
That's insane. Like, they have guys like that, and then a strong bat behind them like Brady Allen to back them up. I mean, the team was really looking good, and I'm sad their season got cut short. And I think the program's headed in a very, very positive direction.
For sure. So, Ian, before I let you go, one last question, kind of on a funny note. Your favorite memory at South Carolina, it can be on field, off field. Like, do you have any good stories, anything that happened under Coach Kingston that you can say on the airwaves, or like with your teammates, or anything specific stick out to you, like good story wise from your time in Cola?
Oh man, there's so many. I probably had the most interesting characters on my team I'd ever had last year. I had some different cats, man. Jake Bolson, my best friend from last year. TJ Hopkins. I got some stories with those guys, but I'm not going to share them. But I will say one thing that does stick out in my head is that practice when I hit the ball over the scoreboard. the whole practice stops, and the first person I look at is TJ, and TJ's in center field on his knees with his head in his hands in absolute disbelief. As well as a few guys, the guys in the bullpen had stopped, like all of practice had stopped. I was in shock. It was just a moment of silence that I had never experienced during practice. It was just kind of funny that it happened. And I just thought that was really funny. That's a really good memory I have.
Was this NBP or was this like, did you hit this off of someone?
This was NBP, actually.
Okay. I was about to say, whoever the pitcher, if that was against, they could just never live that down. I mean, that would be like the worst thing.
Stuart Lake was throwing BP. Yeah, and if I'd have hit that off the actual pitcher, man, I never would have let him hear it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not one to brag, but that doesn't happen too often. So,
no doubt. Well, Ian, really do appreciate you taking the time, man. Obviously, again, stay safe, stay healthy, but we'll definitely be following along with your career. Again, we're tearing it up before we went in this quarantine thing. I know you'll continue to do so, and excited to see where you land, man. Really appreciate you taking the time. And like I said, I know all Gamecock fans, appreciate what you did. We'll be following along to see what's next in your journey, man. So I really do appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on the show.
All right. Perfect. So for Ian Jenkins, I'm Chris Phillips. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on an episode of the Spurs Up Show.